Good afternoon. How are you? Um, how's your week going? The screenings. I was going to talk about the screenings, but that's not, because I was really truly going to say how disappointed I've been, but that's a whole different conversation. Perhaps might do. I keep saying this, and I know I keep saying this, but I'm going to try to do a live about it. Um, but until then, right, let's talk. Tinubu's palliatives. I know you're all going, but stop. So here's what happened. Sometimes this week, I can't remember what it was. I had some people doing some work for me somewhere, and we just got talking. There was a painter, two painters actually, the boss and the other one, and his assistant, and we got talking about the economy as one does. And I said to them, it was actually maybe a day or two after Tinubu's love letter, as I call it, the love speech, the romantic speech to Nigerians. And I said to them, what did you think? And they're like, oh, there's nothing in there for me, yada, 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 and all of this stuff. And I said, are you really? Are you serious? This was all in Yoruba, by the way. I said, are you serious? There's nothing in there for you. Do you know what it contains? Are you clear about what it contains? And then I had to start telling them back that, look, you're an SME. Your wife might be a micro SME. These are the things that you will be entitled to. They're looking at me like, what you talking about, Willis? I said, yes. There were things in there that's for practically everybody. But most people, and I do have to be blunt, most people are too busy vexing to actually read, learn, and imbibe. Having done that, then you seek to know, okay, how do I get access to this? And I had to say to those two men I was talking to, one was young, the other one, I don't know, maybe in his 40s or something. One was clearly in about sort of mid 20s. And I had to say to both of them, you need to go to your I keep saying local authority, I forget that. Local government. You need to go to your local government and actually ask, say, you want to be a part of these things, etc. Okay? But I'm not the expert. That's the point here. I am not the expert. But I had to do that. And it occurred to me that many people are there. I mean, not everybody's vexing, obviously. Everybody's too busy worrying, about the state of the nation, which we should do, to actually have listened and actually taken it in and think, okay, how is this going to better my life? Which is why I have with me a special guest. Yes, I know he is special because, you know, I hate maths, as you all know. I understand finance, I understand the fiscal and all of that stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But, often you find somebody that kind of makes it all seem like ABC. It's like you're having cornflakes in the morning and you're literally understanding everything he's saying. So, of course, as you know, on Danfo Conversations, that's what we're about. We're about going there. Jiggy jaga, jiggy jaga. People are getting like really jealous of this jiggy jaga now. Some of them want to steal it. Yeah, we go jiggy jaga, and we go there. And we often like to go with an expert, a subject matter expert, as our co pilot. Today's co pilot is Stanley Honorua, who is, you're all going to go and follow him now. And I really want you to go and follow him because the day I discovered him, a lot has changed in my life. No, I'm not rich. Don't listen to Ufoma. I'm still broke. But the day I discovered him is one of the best days on social media for me. His handle is at online banker. Stanley,
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
good
It's good to be.
afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes, you can either call me Sisi Oge Sisi or Ireti. It's up to you, my love. But I like your
Cecily,
orange. Yes, I know. I like to pretend that I'm a Sisi. I
you're
like
right.
your thank you. I like your orange hat. Can we move this thing out of the way? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes,
It's
and
nice to be here.
yes, and you do something with finances that I wish even, the CBN would do. But they're clearly either incapable of doing it, or they choose to bamboozle us with all sorts of, orishirishis so we wouldn't understand. So today, we are going to be talking about Tinubu's palliatives and what it means for all of us. Are you ready? You're going to help us break it down. I want you to tell the MSME what's in it for them and if they can get access to it and what's going to change in their life. I want you to tell the micro. I want you to talk to us about that 75 billion. That everybody's like, he's giving 75 billion to businesses. No, all those things. I really need you to break it down for us. Would you mind doing that?
Okay, yes, that's why we're here. It's nice to be here on the show with everyone. Thank you, Sissy. Thank you for bringing me on the show. I appreciate everyone, and thanks for the very warm, for the very amazing intro that you gave to me.
That's what we do here. Go ahead. So let's start from the top. 75 billion to enterprises.
Yes.
At 9, we'll talk about the 9% after, because I know you're going to break that down better than I could ever. But that's 75 billion to fund enterprises at single digits. What is that? And who are those enterprises that he's talking about?
So he promised to give enterprises 75 billion and 1 billion to each of them at 9%. And they are mostly in the manufacturing sector.
Right.
And the idea of this as a single interest rate, the idea of this is to boost production.
Okay.
Right now, a lot of manufacturing firms are facing serious headwinds. They are facing so many challenges. And I would like talking for broken, say Kasala.
You feel talking for broken, Kasala. We're on Danfo. Talk it as you feel it.
So yeah, I'm talking for broken, say Kasala dey everywhere. And one of the wahala way one of the main problems most of the manufacturing industries have, number one right now, is energy costs. The energy cost for most manufacturing firms have gone up by over 50%. So for some as high as 70%. And now it's a problem because they need to pass that cost to you and I, who are the final consumers. There's a limit to what people can buy. And that's, if you check your economics, after when a product becomes expensive to a certain extent, people start to look for alternatives. So people start to look for, is this thing really necessary? So if I was taking tea and bread in the morning, so I had my milk and my and my cocoa in the morning, and all of a sudden it seems like that's the milk and the cocoa that I was taking to to spice up my life every morning is now costing me as above what I normally would want to have for breakfast. I'll start to look for alternatives. Either I decide to go for either the cocoa, or I start to go for only just the milk, or I start to look for alternative. What is even the cheaper way? I can even try and get maybe a bit of soda and dilute it very well. At least it tastes like a sugary drink, and I can have it with my bread. And that's an alternative. Once that people start to seek alternatives, it means that the production for that production firm, whatever company that is, they start to see a slump in the demand for their goods.
Yeah.
What it means is that if they start to see a slump in demand for their goods because they are priced high, they're already facing energy costs. The people that work with them, they might need to cut down a bit or start to cut down on production. And people work in those places, they pay shareholders. So it's a ripple effect. So what the government is trying to do is, we're saying, okay, we're going to give you this money at a single interest rate, which is lower than anywhere you would get it right now. So you're going to take that cost and then reduce the cost of your goods and spread it over 60 months for you. What it means is, after a while, you're going to have enough cushion for you to buy raw materials, subsidize energy cost, and then keep your people in the workforce. So, and looking at the big MSMEs, and I'm sure they're going to give it to the likes of
I was going to say to you, who are these big manufacturers, for instance?
So I'm going to use
not Dangote.
Not Dangote, definitely not Dangote.
Please, we won't have that. Not again.
No, no, definitely not Dangote, but they're going to go after people that they know will have a direct impact. So if they are going to go after people like I don't know who are the people that are struggling now, but big names like say Bonvita,
Okay.
Cadbury, they can
Okay.
decide to do that because they know that these guys have the integrity, and
Right.
if they give them the money, they are not going to want to do anything shady. They
Go
are
and
going to
buy a
try
house
to
in Banana.
they're
Yeah.
accountable. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
accountable to the government. They're accountable to their shareholders, and
Okay.
that money they can see the effect of the money in the economy.
Okay, brilliant. So the second one then is 125 billion to energize MSMEs.
Yes.
Tell us 125 billion, like, as in, every MSME, just keep still and listen, because you people will be calling, I know. 0700 993 993 993. The female only line is 01 465 7190. You will get a chance to talk or ask a question to Stanley. Remember, I'm giving you good things for free. And he's also handsome. Please ask Zainab. He's fine. Fine. Yeah, women, stop calling because he's fine. Stop. He's gone all shy now. But anyway, let me get back to realness. So tell us, 125 billion to
Yes.
MSMEs. What does that mean?
So the government has broken the 125 billion. They've broken it down to say we're giving conditional grants to some MSMEs, and we're giving to nano industries.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's the essence of this is they tapped into, there's something they mentioned that they were going to tap into the development finance and use collaborations from the private sector.
Mm-hmm.
Make we no speak plenty grammar.
Make we no speak grammar.
Make we no speak grammar. See what government want to.
Mm-hmm.
Now they've seen that if you check Nigeria, over 80% of the businesses are micro and small businesses. When we hear MSMEs, for people we know Sabi, MSME mean micro, small, and medium enterprises.
Yep.
So the ones that fall into this category are mostly micro and small businesses.
So
Who
micro
be these
is
people?
what size? First of all, before you move on, micro is sort of from what kind of how do you say the turnover? Just give us an idea, a quick idea.
So for turnover, micro can say below 0 to 5 million.
So
So you're looking at you up to 0 to 25 micro, into million, just 5 million order. So there's 250, and then have some million and see 250 out the game.
or just interested. So I'm sure.
So what the government is doing is these are the main employers of labor.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, you're going to have even your radio station. I don't know what they do on a distance, but if you are going to check the people that work there, so if you have a business now, you have an Ashwebi business that caters to people that do weddings every Saturday, and maybe you do a turnover check in a month, you are selling.
Yeah.
In a week, you're selling gele and you're selling, wrappers and all that. That comes up to like 1 million, 2 million a week. If you check it in 4 weeks, you're doing almost 4 million.
Yeah.
So you fall into that category. Now, for you employ people that probably help you in production. The woman that you buy from the market, you keep her in business because you probably buy from a supplier.
Yeah.
The woman that is supplying you that has a family that she's taking care of, and probably she's a breadwinner for a family of like 5. So if you check down from the value chain of your business, the business that you have, you're indirectly linked to almost 20 to 30 people directly from your small business.
Right.
So the government is looking at injecting this money to this particular subsector of the economy. The people that have a direct impact in production.
Yeah.
Not about, coming to one large decision and saying we're throwing 300. But if you can fund MSMEs accurately, not the one that they go say, I go carry the money, give MSMEs, and then it finds its way into places that are not, that
exactly.
Are not, yes. Yeah. But if you can adequately fund the MSMEs and boost their own capacity, you can see the multiplier effect in the economy.
Right. Okay. Well, we're going to be going on break in about a minute or so. So because I don't want us to go to the next one, because I've got them all listed here. When you say if you're not, if you give it directly to MSMEs, are we talking about the kind of things that went wrong with trader money, for instance?
Yeah, no, trader money was given to market women without data.
Without data,
And that was a
exactly.
problem.
That was a
That was
problem.
that was a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was a problem. So what the government has said, if you're seeing the circular, what's in the speech that we say we're going to tap into development finance. Development finance is under the CBN, and they were the ones that were in charge of the things like the COVID-19 loans and the agri small and medium scale loans that they try to give to businesses.
Is that the car
Um,
COVID? That's not car COVID, is it? That's a
no, it's
different
not.
loan. Okay.
No,
All
it's
right.
different. It's different.
Okay.
But during the COVID era, they had that loan that they gave out to Nigerians, and they
Okay.
gave out to small businesses post-COVID. And
Right.
what they did is that there was a learning process for them because there were mistakes that were made within that platform, and there
Right.
were success stories. So building upon that, they have the accurate data and the method of giving out those loans, disbursement and recovery. So
Right.
that will be a better way of disbursing this money, and that's what the
Excellent.
government hopes to achieve.
Brilliant. We'll be right back after this break. I have with me the handsome, the super smart, the finance brain himself, economics and everything. He's going all shy. He's got a stunning yellow cap on. He's joining me all the way from Abuja at Online Banker. I have some of your fans already messaging me. Somebody said, I was really excited when you said you were inviting him. We'll be right back after this.
We record, you decide. Topical conversations that matter to you.
There are people for personal, religious, whatever reasons who do not want to take a vaccine. And I think they have the rights.
They cannot go to us to stop insecurity. It's to force people to take vaccine. Let them come and kill me. I can never take it.
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Sincerely, I don't want to wait till I graduate from this school before I think of what to do with my life.
Exactly. I am going to seriously work on my music skills. Let me use my talent well, I beg.
I would like to be a radio presenter, but I don't know how to go about it.
But why is Simi so quiet today?
Sorry, ladies. I'm taking this interesting course on how to become a professional scriptwriter. You too can also learn how to become a radio presenter on Wazobia Academy.
Wazobia Academy?
Yes, Wazobia Academy provides accessible and affordable online training in filmmaking, music business, fashion, radio hosting, and lots more. You also stand a chance to be selected for internship in leading production companies, radio stations, music, and fashion studios for hands-on experience. It's easy. Simply log on to www.wazobiaacademy.com or call 0908-826-5038 for more details.
Wazobia Academy. Learn and lead.
My children are athletes. From the moment they wake up, they keep playing and learning. So, when I pack the new Milo NS snacks into their lunchbox, I'm giving them a delicious snack with the goodness of malt, milk, cocoa, and crunchy Niger-grown maize containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Milo NS Snacks, snack of future champions to help your kids refuel and keep winning all day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk. Let's talk.
Welcome back to
The stories that matter to you from across the street to across the globe.
There was a general complaint of voter apathy. What do you think was responsible for that?
This is what this man is telling America. You sew clothes of hush puppy. You do this sewing clothes. You also everything is better than police. What a shame.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Okay, I'm back. Let me read out a quick message. Hi, Cecile. I'm super excited. You finally got Online Banker. I was the one who rooted for you when you reached out to him on Instagram. Well done. That's from Freke. Freke from Aja. So you see, Stanley, I wasn't lying when I was not just paying you compliments. You know what happens on your handle. Anyway, we've got so much to cover now. Moving on to the next one. 200,000 metric tons of grains to be released. To whom is he releasing that to?
So the government, can you hear me?
Yes,
can you
we
hear
can.
me?
Yes, we can.
All right. So the government said they are releasing 200,000 metric tons of grains to Nigerians. And we don't know if the grains are just one grain. That is the information we do not have. Is that going to be maize?
Mhm.
Is that going to be
Right.
millet?
Right.
Is that going to be rice? So
Right.
we don't know which grains that are going to be released, but we know that in aggregate, they've said 200,000 metric tons.
Mhm.
That is a good initiative because
Right.
what it does is that once there's adequate supply of anything, it drives down costs.
Mhm.
So instead of when Gary now is scarce, everybody's rushing Gary. The market woman ordinarily just changes the amount that you are buying Gary because there's too much demand.
Yeah.
But when everybody get Gary for the market, so Oga come buy 400 now. This madam will say come buy 300. This one will say buy 200. Everybody will reduce their price to 200, make the fee sell that day. So what it does is that it drives down costs.
Yeah.
But the question is, what is the implementation? The grains that you're going to be releasing, are you releasing them as one-off? If they are kept as strategic reserve, because that's the word that we should take notice of.
Yeah.
It is a strategic reserve. It means that strategic reserves are kept for times of like famine, or there's a natural disaster.
Right.
So that is what strategic reserves are for people that are listening.
So, so they already have it in reserve. They already have it stored away.
Yes.
Right.
And when the government is coming out to say we're going to our strategic reserve to bring out grains for Nigerians, it means it's a two-way thing.
Right.
It happens if there is now a problem, if there's a natural disaster, if there's a pest issue, if there's famine or whatever it is that comes up, the government would not have that. But in the meantime, to solve this problem, the government has said they are going to drive down the cost. Now, what is the channel they are going to use to disburse these grains? The channel that is going to be used to disburse the grain is very important. I'm more concerned about the process than the announcement.
Right.
Because the announcement could be anything, but the process of announcing it, so if you give it to a middleman, the middlemen now come out to say, okay, we're taking it to the grains, and they start to bag some of them in their own names and start to resell. Like we're seeing in the fertilizer program that was past two administrations that wanted, and even the last administration, when the government tried to give fertilizers directly to farmers, we noticed that the middlemen that were in charge of that started bagging some of those fertilizers for themselves and reselling it to those people, or were asking for incentives from some of the farmers. Now, this defeats the aim.
Yeah.
This defeats the aim. There was something that was started by the current minister current president of African Development Bank, Adesina.
Yes.
Yeah. When he was the agric minister, there was something he introduced that was for smallholder farmers, where you could access, using a short code, that you can access some of this information directly from the government.
Right.
And what it did was that it cut out those middlemen and reduced the corruption. So you have to be systematic about this, so that in the end you're not enriching the few, but you are getting adequate value for the program that you have earmarked.
Right.
And that comes up to the people that are going to be in charge of this program. We need to have people that are thinking beyond just politics, and thinking for the people, for you and I.
People are already calling, so I'm going to rush through. So we've got, the other thing he said was 225,000 metric tons of fertilizer, seedlings and other inputs to be provided for farmers immediately. 50 billion will be provided to cultivate 150,000 hectares of rice and maize. 50 billion will be provided to cultivate 100 hectares of wheat and cassava. 100 billion to acquire 3,000 units of 20-seater CNG buses. Let's talk about those buses, because those are the things that actually my listeners can actually get direct, immediate benefit from once it happens. He did say this is all between now and March next year. These CNG buses, do we know whether they're going to be discounted fares?
Okay, so for the CNG buses, for the people that do not know what CNG is like your cooking gas.
That's right.
So the gas that you have in your house. So using that to power there are buses that are powered right now.
Don't go and use it in your car now. Don't say that Stanley and Cecil get to you. This Danfo is not on CNG, yo. I have said it, yo. We are not, yo. We are talking about what Tinubu said he's going to do, Neo. Go ahead, Stanley. It's true.
Thank you, Sisi, for clarifying that.
Yeah.
So what the government is saying that but by the way, so that you can tell your people, you can convert your Danfo buses to a CNG bus.
Right.
You can convert it from using petrol to using gas.
Officially, tell us how it's done. Before I can just see those saying, "Oh yeah, bring out that cooking gas because you've finished this stew. I won't put that inside my car. I will not." tell us. Yes, you can convert it. How is that done? We have to go to a company to do it, right?
Yes.
And what kind of
Actually, you have
cost? Right. So tell us
yes.
that.
So
Yeah.
you need to go to a company to do that. I know a number of companies in Abuja, and I know about the car assembler Innocent. He has rolled out a number of buses that are
CNG.
specifically for that purpose.
Right.
So CNG buses.
Right.
And the idea behind the CNG buses, so that we can come back to your question, is that if the government can drive that, they can then subsidize that line, because CNG, using gas at the moment, the price of gas has been falling instead of rising when every other thing is rising.
Right.
There was something that someone said, Nigeria is actually a gas producing state, pretending to be producing petrol and crude oil. So we have an abundant reserve of gas. If we tap into that and provide adequate network for gas in Nigeria, we're going to see a demand, not just in cooking gas, in using CNG and other byproducts that we could use that for, and that could drive down costs.
Right.
This was my own idea of how the government could have reduced transport for workers.
Right.
If they had adequately brought in like petrol when they were doing refineries and said, okay, we're providing buses that are going to be at a fixed rate, because that's definitely what they will do with the buses that they're introducing. So if they say it's going to be at a fixed rate, and you are deploying these buses adequately around cities and in Nigeria, now it means that people that take those buses know that their cost of transportation is covered. Right now, I know people that earn within 40 to 50,000 naira around the country that do not go to work anymore because it was not sustainable for them anymore.
Right.
So bringing down the cost of transportation for this I'll call them the less privileged right now, is really critical.
Right.
The palliative, removing subsidy and all are wonderful initiatives, but in a country where you don't have public transport, where you don't have mass transit,
right,
it becomes a huge challenge.
Yeah.
And they are saying they are taking 3,000 buses. That's going to cause traffic. It means people will park their cars. I don't know how they're going to deploy it as around the 774 local government. How many would it be when you try to disburse that?
Yeah.
Are they going to be just 2 buses moving from Oshodi to Marina, when you know that the number of people that you ordinarily would need, you probably will need like 10 buses.
Because 3,000 seems really small.
Yeah, it is small. It is very small. It looks grand on the side of the government because,
on paper,
because they are looking at the amount they are spending to purchase these buses. But for us, the common man, we know they look down one. How many buses? How many times do I go from Marina to Oshodi? How many times do I go from Wuse to Maraba in Abuja? How many times do I go from Sabo if you're in Kano or Kaduna? When you check these things, these people commute on, if you have a business that you need to commute 2-3 times a day, how many times do these buses go? And because it's now cheap and that is the most affordable, you're going to see people rushing to those buses, and it might not necessarily have the desired impact. So we should be looking more long-term into providing sustainable mass transit, like the trains, like the light trains in Lagos that we're expecting.
We're expecting. So the lines they've already started sending me messages. The lines are going. I do still have questions for you, but the passengers, we all drive this thing together, so I must open. Otherwise, the likes of Koboko will soon call and say, Sisi, okay, I want to know how you put that gas. Koboko, don't you dare put gas in your car. I'm telling you now. Right, let's answer the first call. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. I told you. Koboko, how are you?
I am grateful and I thank your guest. I want to help him add that you are raising subsidy for a country that does not have well. Not everybody will collect or will get that money that people want to give for the SMEs. Listen, let them...
No, Koboko, wait. Okay. Do you have a business?
I have a business. I manufacture nylon, but I don't...
Right. Oh, no, wait now. Okay. That's how you people will not get anything and you won't be able to buy me Christmas presents. Wait now. So, Koboko, you have a business, so I would say you probably fall within micro. Would you say you're a micro business, Abi?
See, now nylon I manufacture.
Right. So,
it's a micro.
Right. So, micro business, you need to know how you can get access to this money. Correct.
No, I don't want them. I don't want them.
Why don't you want it?
Thank you. What I only want is the reduction of taxes we are paying, the cheap diesel that we are buying.
Right.
I don't want any loan. I don't want anyone to kill me. I don't
Right.
want anyone to kill me.
All right.
Because
You make a good point.
Refine locally. Allow us to refine locally.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank
I don't
you.
need to alone.
Thank-
I don't need to alone.
Thank you, Koboko. I do. He makes a good point, Stanley. He said, "Look, I'm a micro business, and I
Alright.
don't want the loan. I want a reduction in taxes. I don't want to have to pay as much tax or as many taxes that the government is imposing on me. But you and I know that." One of the tools available to government to raise revenue is taxes, correct?
Yes, correct.
So what do we say to the likes of Koboko? Because isn't 50, some of that money is actually a grant, it's not even a loan, isn't it? And a grant you
Yes.
don't pay back, right? Or tell us the difference between a grant and a loan.
So the difference between a grant and a loan is that the government gives you a grant, or anyone gives you a grant and says they put conditions to it. Take this money, you are not paying back this money. Take it, do your business. This is from us, me to you. Have a nice day.
Yeah.
But for a loan, you must pay back, and it has strict conditions over a period of time that you must pay back.
Yeah.
And for Koboko, what he's saying is really, really, really like fundamental, because it makes sense.
Yeah.
One of the ways that I thought the government was going to reduce, because I hammer on food every time, because Nigerians spend over 60% of over 70% of their income on food.
Right.
Directly or indirectly. Yeah. So one of the ways the government could have reduced the amount of food is to reduce the taxes. Now, this is a direct measure, like what he mentioned.
Yeah.
If I take away the taxes, instead of using 3 billion, I would have gotten 3 billion from these taxes. But I take away these taxes. So these people are not paying these taxes, and you reduce from their cost of production. That way you could see an impact.
Yeah.
And that comes up to sincerity in the process, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
Only sincerity in the process.
Yeah.
So at the when you take away these taxes, are the people going to feel like these taxes have been taken away from them, and they could channel that resource that they will have used for tax into other productive areas of their business?
Yeah.
That is a point. But the government is saying, instead of going that route, we're going to go and provide this. But providing this, how many people can you reach? Taxes
yes.
are something that you can take off. If I take off taxes now,
It feels,
in terms of
everybody
like,
feels it.
everybody feels that. But when you now go through the other route of providing these amenities that you want to for everyone, how many people can feel it in how many local governments across the nation?
Excellent.
So it's hard.
Thank you. 0700 993 993 993. Female only line is 014 65 7190. WhatsApp is 0809 597 5805. Website is nigeriainfo.fm. Twitter is nigeriainfo.fm. Instagram is nigeriainfo.fm Lagos. Facebook Nigeria Info 99.3. YouTube Nigeria Info 99.3. You all think I'm really clever, but I promise you, I know Zainab has to write that for me. I remember the phone number. All that. Okay, right? So, do you have a question? You can hear how he's explained everything, like literally A, B, C, D. Do you have a question? Are you an MSME? Do you have a question for him? You might even be a big business. You want to call a CEO, you want to call in these guys because you don't know how this is going to impact you. Feel free to call us. I do have messages here. I'll come to the calls in a moment. I do have messages here. What do I have here? Hello, Yellow Cecile. Oh, thank you. And I am in yellow and black today. I am enjoying your show. But are you calling the speech of Tinubu a love letter? How romantic is the speech? Getting the loan for SMA, or you mean SME, is easy, but paying back is not going to be easy because a business cannot thrive in this kind of environment of high taxation. Agbero, high taxation, Agbero, high taxation, Agbero. Think about it. My name is Dan P. Fomigodo. Dan P, you see, when I say it's a love letter, romantic, it was tongue in cheek. So, get it. Yeah, get it. But I do get your point, and I think Stanley has addressed that because I think Koboko, that's pretty much what Koboko already said. Do not send me a voice note because I will not be playing that. I can see somebody sent a voice note. I wonder why you are blaming the people for not finding anything interesting or serious with Tinubu's speech, when himself and his party have given us every reason to doubt everything about them. He supported everything Buhari did, which turned out to be huge failures. Yet he is now claiming things are not fine. So which ones was he trusting before? And was he not supposed to say and do what he is struggling with now before outright removal of the mysterious subsidy? What do you call the person that acts before thinking? Stephen Ejaniki. Steve, you see, here's how it is. We can continue to talk about what Tinubu did not do or what Buhari did not do, or we can actually focus on what is available to us and learn from somebody like Stanley. Choice, as always, on Danfo Conversations is yours, right? So, next message. Good afternoon. Open my question. Hold on. Where are we? Oh, I can't see. I don't know what you send. Is this the last? Good afternoon. Yes, so APC applauds Tinubu for subsidy removal, but finds it difficult to realize the untold hardship the average Nigerians are going through. No problem. Shebi PDP did their own in the past. Where are they today? I thank God for the law of karma. Well, look, you can be thanking God for karma all you want. You've still got a business to get on with, or you've still got to worry about your finances. Make up your mind, right? 0700 993 993 993. Please, what of us that want to start prodding processing, you mean? Canned sardine under oil. I have no idea. I can't understand what you just wrote, to be honest. I'm not quite sure what language that is. You need to rewrite it again. So, Stanley, let me come back. Yeah, let me come back to you. 9% in a 22% or so economy. How is that possible?
So 9%, the government is saying they're going to give out loans at 9%.
Yes, correct.
And at 9% interest rate, I don't know why the government loves 9% though.
Abi?
I'm sure yeah, because
one must ask.
Yeah, so see the trick, so that I just expose it to Nigerians.
Please
I'm exposing the government's trick. So the government is looking at saying we're giving a single interest rate loan,
right?
Because that is what is applicable,
right?
9% is a pretty difficult place because our MPR, the rate at which the CBN starts to lend money, starting rate is 18.75 currently, and then the government is giving out our 9%. That means at 18.75, the banks cannot even lend below 26, 27, 28%. So they start lending from like 26%, 27 upward.
Right.
So you could see some people even giving out loans at 29%.
Right.
Because of their checking their pricing of their risk.
Correct.
But now the government is saying we're giving at 9%. So it's a single digit loan. When a government comes up with those initiatives, as I would like everybody to understand that it has its own implication.
Okay.
Because it means that the government is going to pump money into the economy.
Right.
Pumping money into the economy, if not channeled well, comes back as inflation. It means there is now a lot of money in circulation. If not properly put into production, that is why the government tried to put it into production. If not properly put into production, that money comes back to Nigeria, comes back into the Nigerian system, and starts to chase the goods that are available.
Right.
That's why the government is looking at putting it into businesses.
Right.
If that money, and I repeat, if it is not used to produce goods, it will come back as ordinary money. It means there is now more money in circulation, and fewer amount of money is going to be chasing fewer goods.
Right.
And goods are going to skyrocket, and inflation is going to go up.
Well, inflation is high at the moment. So if government is intending, and here's the thing, what you said, government is intending to boost the economy, pump money into it, get businesses out there, get products out there, get jobs out there, so that we can all begin to spend and feel a bit better, right? But
yes,
there is also that very high inflation that we are looking at. Will it bring inflation down?
You can't pump money. So what causes inflation? Inflation is just generally a high amount of money in circulation. So there's either the push, the cost inflation, or whatever type of inflation that you're looking at. But it means that there's money in circulation chasing fewer goods.
Yeah.
Now, by the government pumping money, that's why I said it has to be strategic. You are pumping that money into production.
Right.
So when you pump that money into production, now it means that I've taken money from you. So let's use practical example. I don't collect money from government. I don't go use them. I don't go produce milk for my house. I don't go produce yogurt for my house. I don't go produce biscuits for my house. Now people are going to come now, instead of biscuits that are available now, biscuits with the circulation now, maybe there are 20 brands and they're selling at 200 naira. Because I've gotten money from the government to produce biscuits now, there are now 25 brands in the market. There's now more alternative for people to come. I can price my own differently, and the price of biscuits now can come down. But if that money does not go into production, as we have seen sometimes in some of the loans that have been given in Nigeria, it comes back into the country as just money. It means now that I have 1,000 naira to buy biscuits. This person has 5,000 naira to buy biscuits. And there is now a lot of more money in circulation. So the price of biscuits will then go up. So it has to be done right, because money in circulation, increase in money in circulation generally means a high amount of inflation.
Right. Okay. So when I have to come back to this again. When we talk about inflation, like you rightly said, okay, too much money chasing fewer goods. Okay. So when government now produces jobs, etc., we will be better off, right? Correct?
Yes.
Right. So there won't be fewer goods. There'll be lots of goods, and everything hopefully will be balanced. Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Now, how long have I got? I've got a minute. Let me leave you with this question, and then when we come back, you can answer it for me. I think our phone lines are not working. So please send all your messages to the WhatsApp 0 or questions 0809 597 5805 0809 597 5805. At the moment, in the UK, when I look at the UK, I'm going to say it quickly because I've got seconds left. In the UK, interest rates are going up. And they're complaining. The Bank of England is complaining that because inflation is going high, he's taking interest rates up because he wants to use it to push inflation out, because they want to encourage people to save more rather than spend more. Correct?
Yes, correct.
Let's talk about why we don't do that in Nigeria. After this break, a second. We'll be right back.
Listen, fellas and girls.
Download the Nigeria Info mobile app on iOS and Google Play Store. Join the conversation and stay connected. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The conversation is just a click away. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
The news update on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Welcome back to Danfo Conversations, right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Okay, we're back, and I'm still with Stanley at Online Banker. You want to follow him? You can also follow me at Sisioge Lagos on all platforms. Okay, so here's the thing. I asked you earlier, just before we went on break, about the way they manage it in the UK, where basically interest rates keep going up. It only just went up yesterday to 5.25 because the Bank of England is saying inflation is too high. They want to push inflation down. They want the opposite of what you're saying. They want us to save more, or they want the Brits to save more, right, rather than spending more. Yes. Why isn't Nigeria like that? Why are we different? I mean, I don't understand. Or are we like that and we just don't get it?
Okay, so
I can see the smile on your face.
So to understand, there is no difference. So everybody uses a particular method of economic formula which has worked in the world.
Right.
So increasing interest rates. Nigeria actually increased their interest rate last 2 weeks to 17 from 18.5 to 18.75.
Right.
So we have done our own price increase.
Right.
But for us, for people like us, we're against the hike in interest rates.
Yeah.
Why the government increases interest rates in developed nations like the UK is that by the time you increase interest rates, every other rate goes up.
Right.
It means that people have less money. They encourage people to save because the amount you get on your savings or any monetary instruments that you have in the country will go up.
Right.
So it's to encourage you to save and
Right.
earn more interest. That's on one side. Then the cost, because you've increased interest rates, the price of things generally like mortgages will probably go up for the ones that are not fixed on fixed mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
And people would have to spend more money across those things and then try to save more money. So in essence, the government is trying to reduce the money, like I mentioned, money in circulation.
Mm-hmm.
In Nigeria, inflation is going up. Primarily, one of the major reasons is that let me use two.
Yeah.
We printed a lot of money in the last administration. During the Buhari's administration, money was printed and given from the central bank to the federal government, totaling over 22 trillion naira.
Say that again slowly. 22
trillion naira, 22.7 trillion actually. That's
Wow.
the actual figure.
Okay.
22.7 trillion. And by the government giving out that money, 22.7 trillion to the federal government, and the money was not used as money in critical infrastructure.
Right.
In terms of, it was used as recurrent expenditure, paying salaries, paying overheads, paying subsidy. Now that money has gone.
Mm-hmm.
It was not used to build railways
Mm-hmm.
that should have made it easier for us to remove subsidy now. It was not used to build roads to connect farmers to the cities to
Mhm.
reduce the amount that people spend on, transporting food. That
Mhm.
money just went into salaries,
Mhm.
and that is recurrent.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was a lot of money in circulation. What did
Right.
people do with that money? Try to buy dollars.
Right.
Try to buy house. A lot of money chasing fewer goods.
Mm-hmm.
That spiked inflation. Number two, insecurity.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of insecurity in the areas that people were supposed to be producing food in Nigeria, those farmers could not farm.
Yeah.
And as long as they couldn't farm and bring out more agricultural produce for you and I in the cities,
Mhm.
it meant that the people that had the goods, that had the tomatoes, they were pricing their goods higher, and the price of food generally went up. Then, in essence, if we're to tackle some of these major issues, like subsidizing, like I mentioned in one of my videos, that I said about subsidizing food and using systematic approach and getting farmers back into farms,
Mhm.
we'll see a lot more reduction in our inflation as opposed to just hiking interest rates. Now, when you hike interest rates, it means that the manufacturers that want to borrow money from the banks for them to use to augment their working capital, the amount has gone up.
Yeah.
And once it goes up that way, they increase the price at which they sell to you and I.
Right.
So in essence, we are still paying more.
Yeah.
But that's another reason why the government are coming to say we're giving it at 9%,
9%.
to some of these manufacturers to cushion the effect for them,
Mhm.
so they could produce more and have more productivity in the economy.
Mhm.
So it
Okay.
comes down to the palliative idea.
Okay. All right. We'll be right back after this. Yes. Feta says she gives out free money. Stanley doesn't give out free money. Stanley just teaches you about money. Feta gives out free money.
Experience a better way to stay connected.
Listen, fellas and girls.
Download the Nigeria Info mobile app on iOS and Google Play Store. Join the conversation and stay connected. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The conversation is just a click away. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
This is The Voice Note on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Aliko and I go back a long way. He's done phenomenally well. About 2 decades.
On the news this hour, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is urging investors in the United States to see Lagos State as the right place for their investment.
It's available to you 24/7.
Still on the news, Adamawa resident electoral commissioner is expected in Abuja.
It would be very correct to say that the latest pandemic in Nigeria is domestic violence.
On 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Back with your #1 station for talk.
And you'll be glad you did.
99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
It's 2 o'clock. The headline news on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
On headlines, President Bola Tinubu replaces Mariam Shettima as ministerial nominee from Kano and adds Festus Keyamo to list of nominees, bringing total number of minister nominees to 48. Protest in Niger Republic with derogatory inscriptions against ECOWAS chairperson and Nigeria's president Bola Tinubu. French radio reports that Niger Republic has cut off ties with Nigeria, Togo, France, and the United States. Arewa Consultative Forum cautions against use of force against Niger coup plotters, calls for dialogue. Former DSS directors warn against humanitarian crisis in Nigeria if military action taken against military junta in Niger. Labour threatens nationwide strike over federal government lawsuit. The federal government plans to implement no work, no pay for striking resident doctors. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu promises that recommendations will be administratively addressed after 2023 post-election review meeting ends. APC gets new chairman Abdullahi Ganduje. Lagos Assembly members lament exclusion of party loyalists from Sanwo-Olu's commissioner nominees. And on the foreign scene, Ukraine says it has hit Russian ship in Black Sea attack. Trump pleads not guilty to charges of efforts to overturn election laws. And in sports, Zambian coach at Women's World Cup accused of sexually assaulting a player. Those are the headlines on this hour. 99.3 Nigeria Info and Feta. Good afternoon.
You don't have to leave home without us again. Listen on the air and online. Just search Nigeria Info FM on the Apple app or Google Play Store and never miss a thing. Your #1 station for talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Welcome back to Danfo Conversations, right here on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Okay, I'm still with Stanley, the online banker. Like I said, I don't think our lines are working. So you can try 0700 993 993 993. You can try the female line, even if you're male, just for now, don't pretend you're a he, she, because I won't believe you. But anyway, 014657190. But we are definitely getting WhatsApp messages on 0809 597 5805. You know, we're about getting close to the bus garage, not long left. Okay, so Feta wants to give out money.
I love to give you good news. And I'm just here to remind you that the oneplay.ng game is still on. Please carry your phone now. I start to dial this code now. Because then come and carry this money. Only me cannot finish it. In fact, I don't want to use it. I want to give it to you. OnePlay wants to give it to you. And that's why we are saying dial *347 *880 *3 hash. It's that simple. You just need 200 naira on your phone to do this. I beg. *347 *880 *3 hash. Operation Key Sakpa.
You see now, on other Danfos, Agberos are collecting money. On our own, we are giving money.
Oh, you see? Oh, yeah, Nigeria Info.
Oh, yeah, Nigeria Info. Whoever you were that was trying to call, then your call came through, but we didn't get to it on time. I'm so sorry. We're having too much fun on Friday here. You should try having Stanley as your guest, honestly. You'll be seeing what kind of fun we're having. Stanley, so
yes.
Before we go, because hold on, let me read out messages. This is a key one. Yes. Good day, madam. How can MSME that had not benefited in any government? That's the reason you have to have not benefited before that. Bad. Stop yourself, now. You people are really harsh. Oh. Anyway, how can MSMEs register to get these benefits? It's a very good question. Where would we go to? Where would Zainab go to? I'm looking for her to become, a major player in the MSME market.
Okay, so for one of the things that happened, because I was fortunate enough to have been part of the last program that the government did for small and medium scale enterprises.
Okay.
So I knew about the process. One of the major problems that Nigerians have is information, adequate information.
Correct.
They do not have this information, and the people that have this information try to monetize. Nigerians are smart, but
That's why we have
get
shows like Danfo Conversations, and we have you. Go ahead.
yeah. So they get too smart for their own good sometimes, and they go and take this information and try to monetize it. Information that is readily available, that's supposed to be readily available for Nigerians. One of the things that I will tell everyone is, because this government is looking for money. In as much as they are trying to do this, the government is looking for money, and that is why they are trying to increase taxes. In as much as they've pended some of the taxes using the executive order by the government, by the federal government, for about 90 days, the government is looking for money. Nigerian government we need to pay loans. We have loans of over 80 trillion naira to pay. Money is going to come from you and I, and it comes from taxes. And one of the major ways that the government is going to give out any disbursement is that they're going to ask you to have a form
Tax
of
returns.
tax clearance. Yes. So for you, personal income tax is something that you pay to your state government.
Okay.
If you have a small business, try and see that you're tax compliant in a way. Get your BVN settled. Have your BVN on your side. Have your tax returns on your side. Have a bit of like maybe like an audited account, not necessarily that you need to go and
Don't scare off my people. What do you mean what are we auditing? Do we look like Dango A?
No, because we did Danfo, man talking like
this.
At least know what's in the come out for your business, know what's in the come inside.
Right.
Just write it down somewhere. At least you're supposed to get that information. So by the time you have some of this down, once the process is coming, follow the online banker. Trust me, I will be one of the people that will advocate for how Nigerians will access this money. I go carry on for head.
Okay, we have a call coming through. Hold on. Hello. Yes, you're one of the lucky ones that got through. Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Victor. We can't talk about tax. When you want to do naming ceremony, how could you pay tax?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Right, that's Victor. He does have a way of giving us comments from his own world. Right, okay. So, Stanley, today, everybody that's listening, right? You are saying, make sure you've got your tax clearance.
Yeah.
Right. Should they be afraid? Because when we say tax in Nigeria, people do get afraid. Should they be afraid? So if that's micro business that's only making 5 million in a year, what sort of tax would they be paying?
So let me state this clearly.
Please do.
Once you earn below 25, there's a tax law in Nigeria that you are exempted from tax once your turnover is below 25 million. So micro businesses are exempted from income tax in Nigeria.
Okay.
So you are exempted from that once you are below 25 million. It's a law. It was passed into the finance law. Below 25 million, you are exempted.
Okay.
So you should know what you fall under and make person no bamboozle you.
Exactly.
So you earn below 25, your turnover no reach 25 million. No worry, you get tax exemption for Nigeria. It is Nigerian law.
Excellent. So, but just because you're tax free doesn't mean you don't do your tax returns, correct?
Yes, accurately.
Right. So if me, I'm living in, I don't know, Ethiopia or wherever, and I want to do my tax returns, what do I do? I'm an MSME. I know that I'm exempt from tax. What do I do?
But you're supposed to pay personal income tax. Like, some state governments, now you go to, they have the LIRS, the the Lagos Inland Revenue
Oh,
Service.
sorry,
They
let
are
me
who-
interrupt you. Calls are now coming through. Sorry. Just hold on.
Right.
Don't forget what you're going to tell us. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Cecilia.
Good afternoon, sir. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Boyesin calling from Afromedia.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I sent a message.
Oh, you did?
Unfortunately, it was not read. I
Okay.
tried to, I like to know your resource person.
My guest.
Pardon?
My
Okay, your
guest. Stanley.
Okay, your guest.
Yes, Stanley.
I want to know if he's in partnership with APC government. Or
No,
or
he's not.
or if he's
No,
working
he's
for
not.
them.
No, let me make something very clear. Right? To all of you that's listening, Stanley is not a government rep. In fact, I was just a normal follower of his. I have no idea at all what is political affiliation, who he supports, who he voted for. He just tells us about the finance, personal finance, business finance, interest loan, fiscal policy, etc., as the Lord has blessed them with the talent to do so. So if you are here, bear with me, if you are here to learn from his talent, please ask your question. If you are not going to do that, then please drop off the line. Literally, I won't have him insulted in that way.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Okay. Like I said, to me, I don't know the workability of the palliatives. I don't know how serious the government is. That is why I'm more concerned.
Okay.
Thank you.
But you should have been listening. Thank you. Hello.
Nigerian
Right. You see, when we bring in subject, and I mean subject matter experts, and you all want to use or some of you, not you all, I beg your pardon, some of you want to use that opportunity to express your vexation about whatever. I literally will not let you. You know why? There are loads of people my personal WhatsApp is for. There are loads of people who are learning from them, and I'm not going to have you waste that time. Because you know what? Stanley, if we were to come to you as a private person to seek for your advice, please tell them the kind of money you'll be charging us.
If you were to come to charge for personal consultation,
yes,
I would charge you in dollars. So
there you go.
Naira
know they do them. So if you don't want to take advantage of this, don't mess up for other people. You heard that straight up. It's free. He's literally giving us free service. Okay, right. What do I have here? I have okay. The whole taxation process in reality. An extortion process starting from the local government levels. But Stanley, I'm sorry, I'm just reading your message now. What I've realized, be it the Northern APC or Tinubu's APC, the government doesn't like to work. They prefer the easy way out always. Instead of teaching us how to fish, they prefer giving us fish, hence the palliatives, etc., etc. They should rather focus on transportation and power and subsidize those sectors and build on it. By increasing the minimum wage, nothing is going to happen except inflation. More money will chase goods in the market. You didn't put your name, but that's a very fair point. Cecile Gay, for Boyson, you've just called. What have I got here? Good afternoon. Rolling out buses, where are the roads? Example, in Lagos State, 90% of roads are in deplorable condition. Stephen Akinbisola from Ijegun, Lagos. So, Stanley, hold on. We have calls coming through. Hello? Hello? Yes, good afternoon.
Hello, Sisi.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good afternoon to your guest.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Dampi from Igondo.
Go ahead, Dampi.
Please, it's like this way of obtaining this SME loan is too difficult. Because all these things your guests are saying, I think is for the big boys in the SME sector.
Okay. Hold on a second, Dampi. Don't go away.
Let me just conclude. I have just one question.
Yeah?
Like, what about people that have just a normal common shop?
Right. Okay.
operating and trying to fend for their life.
Okay.
You don't have all these papers.
Okay.
You should try and make things accessible for people, not calling all this kind of grammar. All these things are grammar stories.
Yeah.
How can you collect a loan whereby you find that the taxation, everything is too much? How can that be?
Okay, Dan P, hold on. Don't go away. Stanley, can you hear Dan?
No, I didn't hear him. But
Right.
You could repeat the question.
Right.
To me.
What Dan is saying is that all the sort of the requirements in order to be able to get the loan seems a bit overwhelming. What about those with a normal shop? Dan, you can stay listening. I thought you could hear each other, but you can't. Dan P, so we don't use up your credit. Stay listening. So Dan, and I think I understand where he's coming from. A lot of people, as remember I said earlier, people are afraid when you mention the word tax in Nigeria. When you mention government and tax, they get scared. When you mention government is giving out money, but you have to produce such and such information, they get scared. Let's take it. How many items did you mention? Was it 1, 2, or 3?
No, so that I could clarify that.
Please
thanks for that. I did not state that the government would use that data. What I'm saying is that because I know the way the Nigerian system has worked. Before now, it's only your BVN that is required, and some and certain requirements from you, your CAC for the ones that are asking you for businesses. But for micro businesses, some of them are not registered, are not duly registered. So they just ask you for your BVN, your nature of your business, and ask for they asked you to do certain. There was a form of training that you needed to go, business development training, before you could qualify for the loan. But I'm looking at where the government, I don't know the modalities that we brought out, but I'm thinking building on the existing system.
Right.
I'm saying for the people that can, be everybody,
right,
especially for small businesses.
Okay.
Just get out for corner. If you fit, just keep on one side. So in case they just ask you, bam, you don't carry and come out. But the government might decide to go through another route, in essence, to make it accessible for the broader range of Nigerians.
Okay.
But looking at the way the government is driving taxes, I'm going to think that for anything that they might want to do, they might want to put a form of, bring this kind of
course,
requirement. But so that's what I'm looking at.
Right.
But not necessarily that is the means that the government will. So we wait and see. But
What
if you
they're
have
going
that
to
as a possibility that you can get it, why not if you can?
Okay. So what you're basically saying is get yourself ready. As soon as they tell us what they want, so you've got it ready, right?
Exactly.
Correct.
Exactly.
Now talk about this the grants, the 50,000 naira grants, because we do have a lot of micro people who are listening from different parts of Lagos and outside Lagos.
Yeah.
Is that just a case of having an NIN?
So the grant that the government is going to roll out, again, like I mentioned in the initial when we started, what is the process? What is the process? What data are we going to use? Are we going to create a portal and tell Nigerians, go and apply for this if you earn below, if you think you fall within this category?
Right.
If we do that, we're going to have influx of everybody on that portal.
Okay.
Are we going to go through local governments, like the government has tried to, tweak the 8,000 naira that they wanted to, and say we're tweaking, well, instead of giving out through a registry that we don't have, that is non-existent or that is deeply flawed, they are going to now say give it back to the state and the local governments. Now, when you go local government, how many people did register for local government? How many people get their own information for local government?
Right.
You sabi your local government chairman.
Exactly.
You sabi waiting to do for your office. You sabi the register where they get. So there are inefficiencies in this system. So I think that the best form of administering help and loans to Nigerians is to go through the banks, because they seem like they have come through. Because I'm a banker and I think I've worked in that sector for, say, a decade now. So
Let me just interrupt you. There's a call coming through. 1 second. Sorry about that. Hello.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, you have Luko from Ladepo.
Okay, go ahead, Luko.
I've been listening to the program. So I had the last presenter or whatever. He was mentioning how many billion are being mapped for fertilizer and all the equipment of all the farmers.
Yes.
But I want to ask, a common man like I'm in the Ladipo market.
What do you do in Ladipo?
Parts, like
Okay.
engine, shock
Okay.
absorber, and all this one.
Okay.
Like somebody like we here, how can we benefit from all those ones? You understand?
Yes, sir.
Because you can see everything is going up. Take for instance, there is engine we normally said area last year 350,000. Now, as I'm talking to you now, 700,000 cannot buy it.
Wow.
As I'm telling you now. That is, if you can, I can mention the name. That is what I am into.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
Now, how can we manage or in kind of inflation going on in this country? Because it's too much. Imagine you can have 5,000 or 7,000. You cannot use it to do anything. You cannot cook a pot of stew.
Okay.
So how can we?
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna put your business part question to Stanley. Stanley, that was my listener from Ladipo. He sells spare parts. And what he's saying is, in that whole, as I call it, Tinubu's love letter, there was nothing for him, or was there?
For him as a spare parts dealer.
Those who sell spare parts.
So the idea, and that this is so that I could thanks for the person that called in.
Yeah.
The idea for most interventions by the government is directed at sectors.
Right.
It's not directed at buying and selling directly.
Right.
So they look out for sectors that could have multiplier effects.
Right.
And that is why they always gone for creative industry and agriculture. So like the last one, they could say, I don't know what modalities they would use, but you notice that they might come to petty traders and like they try to do with trader money that failed terribly. Trader money was a total failure. I will say this. It was a total failure. This is my opinion, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I think it's the general.
It
Go
was
ahead.
a total failure.
Yeah.
And you can't go around giving market women 10,000 naira and telling them that is a loan to help boost their business.
Right.
It makes no sense. They'll use it and buy food for their families.
Yeah.
And the money just goes that way. So if you're looking at a more practical approach for things like the spare parts dealers, which are really important to you and I because we need to fix our cars, and if they can get affordable parts for us, it's easier. But the government most times do not look at those sectors, unfortunately. So they look at the sectors like agric, they look at sectors like manufacturing, they look at sectors like things that are related to maybe like energy and things that have direct impact on the other user.
Okay.
So if for example, I supply solar panels, and there's a solar panel project that the government is looking at green energy, they can try to say, okay, if you are into solar energy, we can, give you these loans. It means that I can buy cheaper solar panels and then energy cost is reduced.
Okay.
Then coming to manufacturing, they can say, okay, if you are into any form of manufacturing, we're going to give you this loan, even if you're a micro manufacturer.
Right.
So someone now that is producing sachet water or like pure water, as
like
we call it.
Koboko. Yes.
Yeah. So if you're producing pure water, now, because instead of you pricing your pure water at 30 naira because of the cost, now you have gotten intervention from the government and you can reduce it from 30 naira to 20 naira. It means that every other person now, the extra 10 naira they will have paid, and they will have saved that money. So the government always looks at the means that will come to a means to an end, not an end to itself.
Right.
So that is why most times they try to subsidize certain sectors.
Right. Okay. But could Luco and his counterparts who sell spare parts, we're coming to an end. I know my guy here is already saying we don't have time, but let me quickly ask this because I think Luco is still listening. Would they be able to access that MSME loan, or would it not be available for them because of their sector? If you could just say yes or no.
So for now, we are not sure. We're only giving a broad overview.
Exactly.
We are not sure yet.
Yeah.
So I just give broad overview.
Okay.
With time, we will know.
Okay, brilliant. Right. So because we're about to close, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to go. What do you want to leave us with? Is there a message you want to leave us with before I close this show? You got 30 seconds, Stanley.
All right, 30 seconds. So Nigerians, everybody listening, Nigeria is a difficult place. Everybody just define how you could survive. But always remember that even in the midst of adversity, there's an opportunity. Look out for the opportunity closest to you and maximize it. And follow the Online Banker, TikTok, Instagram, one word, Online Banker.
Online Banker. And that, look,
We
I
go
don't know about the
hard
rest
and
of you, but
in-depth.
that's the end of the show.
Real discourse and commentaries right here
on Nigeria Info.
This is a clear situation of Konima die, Konima burial.
But what kind of marriage is that?
You are calling it marriage. Is that like now what?
Isn't there a tradition like when you're pissed you can walk away? You don't have that tradition?
The radio at its finest.
It's 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Your number one station for talk.